Hello, welcome back to your math class. This is Mr. Jason Yveret, and today we're going to talk about solving two-steps equation. So, in our previous lessons, we talked about solving one-step equation. So, when I say one-step equation, we're talking about one-step addition equation, one-step subtraction equation, one-step multiplication equation, and one-step division equations. So what is a two-step equation? Well, technically it is the reason we call that the two-steps equation is that because it is the combination of two one-step equation. To give you an idea, this is what I am trying to talk about. Example. In this certain example right here, I have 4n plus 4 is equal to 24. It is actually the combination of two one-step equation. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. If I am going to cover the coefficient of n, which is 4, that will give you an equation which is n plus 4 is equal to 24. Now, based from our previous lessons, the way we solve that, since this is n plus 4, is we are going to do the opposite operation of plus 4. And the opposite operation of plus 4 is minus 4. So that is the one-step equation. So if you do that, you subtract 4 from the left and from the right, that gives you 20. So that is what we meant when we say we're talking about the one-step equation. So now, let's try to cover the other part of this. If I am going to cover the plus 4, that will give you another equation, and that equation will be 4n is equal to 24. And as we know it, based on our discussions before, 4n means 4 times n is equal to 24. And again, for us to solve a one-step equation, what we are doing is that we are going to do the opposite operation of 4 times n. And the opposite of times or multiplication is division. So you simply divide 4 on the left, and whatever you do on the left, you have to do it on the right. So when you divide this by 4, that will give you just n, and when you divide 24 by 4, that gives you 6. So that gives you the solution to that one-step equation. So now what I'm trying to say is that those two review that I have for you, the n plus 4 is equal to 24. The n plus 4 is equal to 24. Let me just highlight it for you. The n plus 4 is equal to 24. And the 4n is equal to 24 are two separate one-step equations. So it's what I'm trying to say here, what I'm trying to point out here is that when we solve two-steps equation, we are just going to do the process that we are doing with one-step equations. All we needed, the only difference is that we are going to do this twice. So let's start. So based on our previous lessons, let me just have a recap here. The way we wanted, or the reason why we wanted to solve these equations is that we are trying to separate the variable from the numbers. We are trying to separate the variables from the numbers. So like I said before in our previous lesson, your equation, this equal sign right here, has the left side and the right side of the equation. So what is our goal is for us to separate or isolate the variable from all of the numbers that you can see. So I have 4 as the coefficient of n, and I have another 4 as a constant, and another constant on the right, which is 24. So our goal is to separate them. How are we going to isolate them? So we needed to make a decision. It's either we wanted to keep the variables on the left, or we wanted it on the right, and keep all of the numbers on the right side. So for this, for the essence of understanding this lesson, I would like to keep all of the variables that I have. I wanted to keep all of the variables that I have on the left side, and all of the numbers, I wanted to keep it on the right side. So for the sense of a visual representation right here, I will first divide my equation into two. I'm going to split it into two parts. So this will be the left side of the equation, and this will be the right side. So first step, if you have 4n, that's 4 times n plus 4 is equal to 24, you always have to get rid of the addition or subtraction first. So in this case, on the left side, if I wanted to keep just the variable here on the left, if I wanted to keep the variable on the left, I'm gonna annotate it here. So if I wanted my variable here on the left, that means the only thing that I would like to see here are just letters. And on the other side, all I wanted to see are the numbers, or we call that the constants, right? So on the right side, all I wanted to see are the constant, okay? So let's start. We have 4n plus 4, like I said a while ago. You needed to start first with getting rid of the addition or subtraction. So going back to the previous lesson, how do we get rid of that plus 4? Well, we simply do the opposite operations. And the rule is whatever you do on the left, you have to do it on the right. So 4n plus 4, that means if I wanted to get rid of that plus 4, all I needed to do is to do the opposite of addition, which will be subtracting 4 on the left. Now, again, like I said, whatever you do on the left, you have to do it on the right. So let's do it on the right as well. So we have subtracted 4 on the left. We have to subtract 4 from the right as well. So that will be now written as 4n plus 4 minus 4 is equal to 24 minus 4. Now let's think about this. What is the answer to 4n plus 4 minus 4? Well, simply because this is positive and negative, I can simply cross that out. That means on the left side, I will just be left with 4n. So I will simply be left with just 4n. Okay. And on the right side, I have 24 minus 4, which means I will be left with 24 minus 4, which means that will be 20. So that will be equal to 20. Now there you go. Now, in this case right here, we obviously have a new equation. 4n is equal to 20. Now 4n means 4 times n. And if that's a multiplication, if you wanted to get rid of the 4, you simply have to do the opposite of the multiplication, which is division. So how do we do that? Well, if I wanted to do that, I simply have to divide 4n by the coefficient, which is 4. So that will be dividing the left side by 4. And the rule is, again, whatever you do on the left, you have to do it on the right. So if I divide 4 on the left, I need to divide 4 on the right. And there you go. You are going to have 4n divided by 4. And on the other side, we have 20 divided by 4. So since this is 4n divided by 4, I can simply just cross this out because that will just be 1. That means on the left side, on this left side, I will only have just the n is equal to on the right side, we have 20 divided by 4, which means that will be 5. And there you go. This will be the solution to our equation. So that is n is equal to 5. And that will tell you that the value of n is equal to 5. Now, if we wanted to verify if our answer is right, we can do the checking. So let's just do the checking right here. So let's check the answer. Let's try to check our answer here. So first thing that you have to do is you are going to write down your equation. I have 4n plus 4 is equal to 24. Now what we are trying to do here is we wanted to know if the left side is actually equal to the right side by replacing the value of n, because we already know the solution to that, and the solution to that is n is equal to 5. So this is what's going to happen. So you are going to have 4, and instead of writing down the n, you are going to have the value of n, which is 5. So that is 4 times n. So it will become 4 times 5 plus 4 is equal to 24. Now again, we wanted to know if this left side is actually going to be equal to 24. In other words, you're not going to do anything on the right side because that's already a constant. So now let's find out the answer to this. So first we have 4 times 5. The answer to that is 20 plus 4 must be equal to 24. Now the question is 20 plus 4 equal to 24? And yes, indeed, that is 24 is equal to 24. Now, if you ended up that the left side is actually equal to your right side, that means your solution is actually correct. So that is it for the first example. I will provide you plenty more examples in the next video. So I hope this at least give you an idea on how to solve two-step equation. Thank you guys for listening. You have a good day.